Surprise! Just getting my video up here so I can read it as we go. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Gremlin Lord Live. This is episode 18, Something Spooky. If you're watching this as a VOD, don't worry, there's timestamps in the video description down below. And if you're here live, well, you're just gonna have to listen to everything. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, because we're only 2 subscribers away from our yearly goal of 300. Just 2. Just 2. Wouldn't that be exciting? So you have a bit of a variety pack here tonight, and it's mostly horror movies. We got Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, 1995. We got Good Boy from 2025. We have Black Phone 2 from 2025. I don't know why I'm forgetting. And then we have Tron Ares, also from 2025. Now, Tron Ares isn't necessarily a horror film, but it is doing horrible and has terrified Disney from ever doing another Tron movie, which is unfortunate. So, we need to decide what movie we're going to talk about first, which actually reminds me, I need to get my document up here, which has my reviews in it. I just realized I can't like my video in this mode. But yeah, so what should we talk about first? It's a good question. It's a good question. A lot of options here. Let's see. I am going to pick, since no one is picking, I'm gonna pick Tales from the Crypt, the Demon King. Demon Knight, not Demon King. Let's see, Demon Knight. So this was a movie that I wasn't planning on seeing, to be honest. I just happened to see it because I had extra time and I needed to see a movie for this live. So I figured, you know what? Regal's doing a spooky movie every night, so I figured, hey, why not check it out? It's also available on Peacock right now. Here, it released on January 13th, which is a Friday the 13th, in 1995. It is rated R in 1 hour and 32 minutes. High-level demons collect low-level demons as warriors, and that's not even grammatically correct. Here, let's try it again. High-level demons collect lower-level demons as warriors in an attempt to obtain a key. The blood of... God damn. Obtain a key containing the blood of Christ. The key is guarded by immortal warriors called Demon Knights. Well, that's not right. He's not immortal. I guess maybe he's immortal to age would make more sense, because he was not immortal by the end. So I've never heard of this movie. I've obviously heard of Tales from the Crypt. It was a TV show I watched as a kid. This was, I think, one of, if not the first foray into movies. Well, let's look. We got Bordello of Blood. When was that? That was 96. That has a very terrible rating of a 5.4. Whew. Anyhow, so there's a pretty noticeable cast. You got Billy Zane. You have Jada Pinkett prior to her marriage. I don't want to get smacked, so we won't say her last name. Okay, I don't want to get assaulted for that. And then you have William Sadler. Oh, and CCH Pounder. And Dick Miller, you would recognize him. He's like an older dude, and he plays older dudes a lot in my lifetime. Oh, and Thomas Hayden Church, Sandman from Spider-Man. Hi. Sorry, I didn't have my chat up, even though it's right there in front of my face. Talk about Tales from the Crypt Demon Knights. My theater was very empty. It was me, a mother and her teenage son, and then one other guy. And it's a very interesting film because it's definitely aged, right? Because it is from '95. It still has really good practical effects, though, which I am always a fan of practical effects. So that worked really well for me. It does open with a skit, which I really liked because I do that a lot with my movie reviews. Like my most recent one, The Mastermind, there's a little skit in there. And the opening skit immediately gives you nudity and gore. Like, immediately. And it was like, okay, we're just going right into this. Nudity and gore, all right. But it's an opening skit showing the Crypt Keeper as a new, hot Hollywood director. And the video itself that they do isn't a movie, but it was just funny. And then they had a skit at the end of the movie as well, where he's attending the premiere of his film, and it was funny. I liked it. Let's see. So, great practical effects. There is tons of gore in there. We love seeing people's arms get ripped off and eyeballs getting stabbed out. It's very gory there. There's some good monster effects. So like the lower level demons they kind of look like the hag from Dead by Daylight, if you play Dead by Daylight. We could look her up. They kind of walk around like her and have like her physicality, which I thought was pretty interesting. I wonder if that was like inspiration for her character. But basically you have Billy Zane, who is a demon, and he is chasing, his name is the Collector, and he's chasing down Breaker, who is played by William Sadler. And Breaker is one of those immortal keepers of the key that contains the blood of Christ. So he can only die by the hands of a demon, I guess. They don't really get into the whole immortality thing. You mean this? Which happened a lot in the movie. There was quite a few little details that they didn't really explain thoroughly enough, which was kind of unfortunate. I mean, he was at least a zombie. We at least know that. We know he's at least a zombie, right? He was risen. He's pretty demon adjacent. But basically it's a key. It's like a globe that has a key on the bottom of it. And inside the globe is the blood of Christ, and then also the blood of other demon knights who are blessed by it. And he's on the run from Billy Zane's character, the Collector, and he comes upon this mission, a former church that is now like a hotel run by CCH Pounder's character. And honestly, I didn't care. I like the idea of the set. Like, I like the idea of them going to a mission because it was formerly a holy place. But I didn't like the actual set. It's very concrete. Like, everything is concrete. Everything is very one tone. And it's a little too industrial for my liking. So, but I mean, it's fine, but it's just, it doesn't give me missionary feels. It gives me very much like because it's kind of in the desert, like a Pueblo setting. I don't know. Not a fan of that. Billy Zane, though, I mean, I don't know Billy Zane from a lot, but he was pretty funny. Also, this is 1995. He was pretty hot as well, but he was like funny and charming, but still evil. He would create these fantasies for people to try to get them to join his side to help him, and he would kind of give people what they what is that? Sorry, something popped up, and it's like I think it's an AI thing that give people what they want in order to make a deal with him. You know, he's not the devil, but he is a demon. He's more of a high-ranking demon, and so, but he wants the key because apparently the key they need one more key to return the universe to darkness. It was like that was explained, but then there's this other issue with needing 7 people to complete a ritual or something, and that was really glossed over. Like it was very, I don't know. They didn't explain it very well. There's a mention of needing 7 people to complete the ritual, but like, what exactly are they needed for? It wasn't thoroughly explained. Like he has a tattoo, Breaker, of like 7 stars in his hand, and they line up and move, but they don't even explain that either. Like, what does it actually mean? I'm assuming that when it's a circle on his hand, that means that there's enough people there for the ritual to occur. You stumbled upon the most fantastic movie review channel on YouTube, obviously. We all know that. And talk about Tales from the Crypt Demon Night, which I watched on Monday evening at not Regal Mystery Movie, Regal's spooky marathon stuff. So I mean, I like the story, but I just wish they would have fleshed it out more. I mean, you could have gave literally like 3 more lines to explain to us what the ritual was supposed to be about. Because I mean, even Billy Zane's character, who's the demon who wants the key, doesn't mention the ritual. So it's like, what is this ritual? Even the bad guy's not talking about it. So what is it? There is a lot of topless women in this movie, so if that's your thing, there is an entire scene of like 20 topless women. So go ahead, check it out. It's very interesting. It was one of the characters' fantasies. There were some like unnecessary sacrifices, which happens a lot in horror movies. People who do something they don't need to do to buy their friends time or to delay the killer. Like, it wasn't necessary. There was a couple of them where that people did. I don't want to spoil it. I mean, it is a 30-year-old movie now. Literally 30-year anniversary was this year. But it just gives it that kind of B movie feel to see characters do a catchphrase and then sacrifice themselves. So there's some weird camera techniques. It feels very much like a Sam Raimi, like zooming in type of thing. Stuff that was very popular in the 90s. Again, it's just a sign of the times, if you will. I'm not going to hold it against it. Modern filmmaking is different than it was back then. So, back in the day. Okay. There is a bit of a cliffhanger ending. I mean, I don't know a lot about Tales from the Crypt. I don't know if, like, did the comics come first or did the comics come from the show? Like, I don't know the whole mythos of Tales from the Crypt. So I don't know if there's like a continuation somewhere else or if it's just kind of one of those things like, and they're still running today kind of thing, I honestly don't know. But to be honest, it was really enjoyable. My audience, the other 3 people in the theater with me, we laughed quite a bit. It was pretty funny overall, and like I said, there's just things I didn't like the lack of explanation for the ritual, the actual set of the missionary I wasn't a fan of. You know, there are things in it that I didn't really care for, so it does hold it back a little bit. I mean, I would definitely watch it again though. I wonder if there's like a box set of Tales from the Crypt movies. I don't know how many there are. Should we check to see how many there are? How many Tales from the Crypt movies are there? Minus AI. 5. It's an anthology film consisting of 5 separate segments based on short stories from the EC comic series. Okay. Bordello Blood, Demon Knight, Ritual, Vault of Horror, and Tales from the Crypt. Film? What? Oh, that's not really helpful. Well, anyway. So it looks like there's more. We'll have to see if there's like a box set, you know? They're very much satisfactory B-movie type of things. So what should I rate it? Originally I had it between like a 6.5 and 7. But I mean, I really did have a good time with it. I mean, on IMDb, it's sitting at a 6.7, so that feels right. Is that what you would call it, adult Goosebumps, Prince? I mean, that does make sense. There's a lot of topless women in this one, so that's very adult, and I'm sure that it gives some people some goosebumps. I think that it was a bunch. When I tell you, it was literally like 20 women. And they're all just like fawning over this guy, like, oh my god. It was cracking me up. It was a lot of breasticles. I want to say 6.5. Because, like I said, the story wasn't as strong. It was missing stuff, and things were mentioned that didn't have any fleshing out. And I didn't care for the main setting of the film, where the whole film took place. Because it felt like there was infinite rooms going on. But it was still a fun time. Like, I still enjoyed it. The Crypt Keeper is funny. The special effects on the Crypt Keeper's face. So at one point there is a scene where his head is CGI'd onto somebody's body. But when they use the animatronic head, it is surprisingly so detailed. I mean, I'm assuming it's an upgraded version from the TV show. But like, it was a super duper close up. Like, only his head was the screen. And you could see all the muscles moving on the eyes and eyebrows and cheeks and lips. Like, it was super detailed. And I was very surprised for, 1995. I wasn't expecting that kind of detail in there. Yeah, it was really cool. I'm just sitting there like, oh, because there was a after credits little scene, and where he teases his next movie that comes out, which would be Bordello of Blood, which came out the following year. Yeah, I would do it, but it's very, very loud, so I'm not going to do it. So we'll say 6.5 for Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. Good times, good times. Now, what should we do next, Prince? Since you're here, you can choose if you're gonna be here to watch it. We got Good Boy, Tron Ares, and Black Phone 2. I wrote a lot for Good Boy. Do Tron Ares. Get it out of the way. Come on. You haven't even seen it. So Tron Ares is the one movie that kind of stands out from the rest of the films here because it's not a traditional horror film. But I wanted to see it and I wanted to review it, so here we are. it is doing horrible and it has scared Disney away from ever doing another Tron movie. So it is scary in its own sense. And the fact that it's going to lose $130 million, which is insane. Very true. There's the backlash of Disney with their whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. There's the backlash of Disney for hiring Jared Leto. But Jared Leto was one of the main producers of the film, okay? He helped finance this movie. He's the reason why this movie came to fruition. Because he was able to get financiers for it and he helped personally finance it. So, exactly, it got made because of him. So that's that. So I don't blame Disney for that. I mean, they were probably like, God, I hope we can get a Tron hit. But as you can see, no such luck. Yeah. So obviously it's the third Tron movie. The first Tron was in the 80s. I don't remember what year. The second Tron was in 2010, I think, Tron Legacy. Yeah, that's Tron. Exactly, the Tron ride. People like the Tron ride, but why does nobody like the darn Tron movies? Because the previous two movies were also flops. I would think at least Tron Legacy would have been popular in like China or something, you know? They usually really enjoy the like technological stuff like that, or big Hollywood blockbusters. But no, not at all. The description for this movie isn't very good. A highly sophisticated program, Ares, is sent from the digital world into the real world on a dangerous mission. I will say that there is an amount of knowledge you may need from the previous films for this film. And that might turn people off who don't know anything about the Tron franchise. Like the aunt who I took, she didn't really know anything about Tron. So there is quite a few callbacks to the previous movies. They do explain things in the beginning about Kevin Flynn, which is Jeff Bridges' character, and how he's a video game creator, and how he went missing, and then his son went missing. Like that's all in the beginning of the movie. And they talk about his rival Dillinger, which is from the first Tron movie, who's a rival video game company, and that goes all the way into this film. So it's a lot. So Jeff Bridges' company is called Encom, and it's being run by two sisters, Eve and I don't remember what the other sister's name is. She wasn't really in it because she's... But Greta Lee plays Eve. And then the rival company is Dillinger, and that's run by Evan Peters' character, Julian Dillinger. And his mother is Elizabeth Dillinger, who's played by... It might be Aaron. Aaron and Eve. That sounds right. I saw that, but I don't even recognize her face. So, Gillian Anderson plays Evan Peters' mom. Apparently, she used to run the company, but then she gave up the reins to him, and now she's on the board. And it's not super complicated because the Dillinger company is more focused on military and war and fighting. And then Eve's company is more on making video games, but she really wants to help the world. So there's an idea of 3D printing, obviously, as you saw from the trailer. I keep looking over here for the camera, and it's up here. Evan Peters' character is 3D printing Ares, right? The ultimate soldier character. So, and like that's his whole plan, is to make weapons. And then, but as I said, Eve's plan is to help the Earth. So it's kind of like a, it's kind of standard, really. Good guys versus bad guys. You like Cameron Monaghan and Arturo Castro. Arturo Castro, I definitely recognized him from other things. Cameron had no part in that movie. When he popped up, I was like, that's the guy from Shameless and from the Jedi games. And then, yeah, this is God's Promise flag, Joseph McDonagh. Okay? Okay? So how about you calm down? Christ be with you, bro. But yeah, he I didn't know he was even in the movie, and he's in a blink and you miss it character. I don't know if he had a bigger part. Stupid. Of course it's a gay pride flag. But no, I don't know if he had a bigger part in the movie and they cut it because he is not in the film. I didn't even know he was even in it. So, but they showed his face like once, and that was that. I know. Hassan Minaj is in it. He's okay. He's kind of the similar character he usually is, kind of wisecracking, jokey guy who can kind of pull it together when needed. Jodie Turner-Smith was great as Athena. I kind of wish they gave her a bit more to do, but she was good. She was super, intimidating, though. Which is great. She was supposed to be intimidating. Let's see. Anybody else that we recognize here? Not especially. Obviously, Jeff Bridges is in it as Kevin Flynn again, but not in the traditional sense. Because if you've seen the second movie, you know what happens to Kevin Flynn. So, but that's what I mean. So you kind of need to have previous knowledge, because there's a whole, I think it's in the trailer too, where they show Ares in the classic program, right? And you wouldn't recognize a classic program if you didn't see the original movie. It would just look like a dated digital world. So it's just kind of like, there's things in there that you kind of need to know. Like, I don't know. I had to explain things in the moment to the aunt, and it was just hard trying to explain things. Yeah. Let's see. I will say that Tron Ares does not deserve all of the hate that it was getting. Is it the most perfect film on the planet? Of course it is not. But does it deserve to be doing as terrible as it is? No. Not at all. I get why people don't like Jared Leto. I don't have a big opinion on Jared Leto, to be honest. I could name like two things I've seen him in: Suicide Squad as Joker and Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, let's blame Disney for that. Other than that, I don't really know him for much. I know he's in other things, but I haven't seen those other things he's in. So, and those two roles, at least the Blade Runner and Tron role, are fairly similar. But I get people don't like him. It's fine. I know his checkered past and all that jazz. I didn't see Morbius, though. I know he's in Morbius, but I didn't see Morbius. It's Morbin time. That wasn't something that I saw. But Jared Leto does a good job at being an emotionless character. Okay? I mean, he does a good job with that. He's good at being frozen and just saying things matter-of-factly. He's quite spiffy at that. And it's funny because, when I told the aunt how old he was, because Jared Leto was, I think, 52 or 53 years old, she couldn't believe it. And I was like, well, yeah, because of all the work he has done. He's had so much Botox and injections and stuff. He can't move his face anyway. So he does a good job of being emotionless because he can't move his face. It was really obvious, though. There were some scenes where he was looking down, and the veins on his eyes would be so bulgy. It was actually the veins under his eyes were super bulgy. And it was like the one hint of like a wrinkle on his face was his weird bulgy veins under there. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, I mean, he's perfectly fine in the role. I like Greta Lee. She's good in her role. Um, Jeff Bridges felt like kind of a phoned in performance, to be honest. I'm sure they did his takes in like one day. I'm sure. I'm sure that was like one day of filming, and they're like, "You're all done, Mr. Bridges. Here's your $20 million paycheck. Have a good day." And I mean, the movie's not even completely focused on Ares either. Yeah, long hair dudes. Like, I know it's called Tron Ares, but it's really 50-50 between him and Eve. And then you also get focus on Evan Peters' character with Gillian Anderson and with other characters too. Like there's enough juxtaposition between the characters where you're not like sick of Jared Leto throughout the whole film. Okay? So he's perfectly fine. It's funny that I put that in my review. That there's not too much Jared Leto in the film. But it's true. It's true. It's true. People get really, really upset about him. Visually, the movie looks fantastic. I mean, if anybody tells you it looks like crap, they're lying to you. It looks good. Obviously, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on those visuals, and it looks good. It's true. I mean, it was a lot of orange and red for me. I wouldn't have mind seeing a bit more blue because, like in Tron, a lot of things were blue and white. Tron Legacy. Um, but as the blue stuff's usually like Kevin Flynn's colors. My hand's over here, and the red stuff is usually bad guys, which would be Dillinger. It's a lot of red. It's a lot of red, and it's fine. It's fine. It's just it gets a little one note sometimes. Although it does look really, really cool when they're in the real world and they show the Tronny stuff in the real world. Like that looks really cool because you have like all the beautiful, like the regular colors of life in the real world, and then you just have like these video game looking things in there. So I did like that. The plot was good. I mean, it's basically the two companies are both looking for the same thing. They're looking for a certain type of code that would allow things from the digital world to exist in our world permanently. So, it's basically the plot of the movie. I feel like they probably should have made a show to branch the 15-year gap between this movie and the previous movie. I agree. Even if it was an animated show, because there is an animated show I saw on IMDb called like Tron Uprising or something. I'm sure they could have gotten the same actors maybe to play the voices. So, but it just, because there's a lot of history in there, and then there's a decent amount of technical talk about, like, if you don't understand what hacking is, then you're not going to understand what you're seeing in the digital world, right? So you see Ares hacking into another mainframe. So you have him and his troops running around and beating up other troops, and those other troops are like the antivirus, the protection. So it's a literal representation of computer processes. And I was trying to explain that to the ant, like, if you got an email, imagine you send your email and then Ares takes it and runs it over to a digital mailbox and puts it in for you. Like kind of like that. Just the idea that what you're seeing are computer functions, but visually. So there's quite a bit of that, and there's like talk of AI and protocols and master files and stuff like that. So it's not like overly complicated, but if you don't really know anything about computers, it might confuse you kind of. And because they don't say like, I'm hacking into the mainframe, you know, they don't say that. They say like Ares get into the system or something, and that's what happens. I don't know. I understood it with my basic knowledge of computers, but I do see how it could be a bit more technical than people are expecting. I don't remember Tron Legacy and how technical that was. Um, I haven't seen it since 2010, so I couldn't tell you if there was a lot of techno talk in that movie. Yeah, they gotta make up the $130 million loss from this movie, so they gotta raise prices. Hey, well, I don't go to Disney, so it doesn't affect me. Let's see, the rest of the cast was good at their roles. They were. Um, obviously the other thing with the movie is Nine Inch Nails. I don't really know Nine Inch Nails music personally. Um, but it definitely, I found it to still be fitting to the film. I mean, if it feels more industrial techno synth music, you know, and since the major focus of this film was like on Ares and the Dillinger company type of stuff, who are all about brute force and, you know, war and making money, it made sense. Like it felt very fitting to hear the dong 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 music to it. I did enjoy the music. I'm not saying it wasn't good music. Like I did enjoy it. It doesn't speak to me as much as Legacy's music because I personally like Daft Punk. So when Daft Punk was doing the soundtrack for that, I was super excited because I like Daft Punk. So that worked out better for me. But Nine Inch Nails was good. There was singing in the movie, which I wasn't quite expecting. But again, I don't know Nine Inch Nails music, so not like, you know, opera singing or anything like that. It's just like general, like go to the grid kind of stuff. But no, yeah, it's not a bad movie. Like the idea that this is some catastrophic, disgusting film that should never be made and no one asked for this. It doesn't deserve that. Is it perfect? No. No, it is not. But I mean, I had a good time with it. Like I said, I'm gonna try to see it again next week so I can really focus on it. But because I'm not gonna have it on streaming because it's gonna be on Disney Plus, and I don't have Disney Plus. No one asked for it. That's not true though. People have been asking for more Tron for 15 years. Now, of course, they wanted more. I don't remember what Kevin Flynn's son's name is, but it's Garrett Hedlund, and more Cora, which is Olivia Wilde's character. They do show them like in the preview, like in the beginning recap, and they are mentioned again in the film. So it's kind of like seeded in there that if they were to make another movie, they would try to bring them back, kind of thing. But Sam, that's what it is, Sam. I just could not remember his name. So it is kind of like seeded that they would maybe bring them back in another one. But now that we know that Disney's not going to make another one, oops, static electricity, we probably won't see them ever again. So, but yeah, Tron Ares. Tron, uh-oh. Gay stars? You think I'm a gay star? Oh my god, thank you. That's so nice of you. That's so cute. Thank you, Joseph McDonough. I'll read your DMs later, okay? I'm just live right now, so I can't respond to all your loving DMs. Thanks. World Trade Center? Yeah, never forget. World Trade Center. Anyway, so for a rating for Tron Ares, thanks, Joey boy. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7 because, like I said, it's a perfectly fine film. It's not exactly what people were looking for when they wanted a new Tron movie, but I think it does very well to fill kind of like a Tron need, a Tron want, you know. And it's unfortunate that we're not going to get more Tron. I mean, I do hope that they try to do a TV show or something, because Tron is like the biggest fumble I could think of with a franchise, because it's like Tron is so universal with video games or technology and how technology's been changing for decades. Like, it's so, like, I don't know, it's easy to grasp for people. Like, I don't understand why it's not a huge franchise. Could you imagine if they'd been making these movies, like if this was like the sixth one instead, and every time they like showcase another musical act, so they had like Daft Punk and the other one, and Nine Inch Nails and this one, and like maybe one of the previous ones was somebody else. Like, if there was like a whole like series of that. I see that Brian said hi. Man up from? I told you, Joseph, I will read your DMs after the live. Okay? You're going to have to take a cold shower and calm down. Okay? So Tron Ares, 7 out of 10. Not as bad as people said it was. But not as great as some of those glazers think it is. So that's 2 movies down already. So now we have Good Boy and Black Phone 2 are the final 2 films to be spoken of this evening. Hit the gym, bro. Check out these pecs, bro. Come on. So you like muscly men, Joey? Huh? You like muscly men, Joey? I figured. You look like a muscly man, Queen. That makes sense. Here's my popcorn bucket. There's that one. We also watched Rocky Horror Picture Show this week. There's a little better view of the inside. I know I said that picture in Discord, but there's that. We do have the cup as well. This little cute little rubber lip thing that covers your straw. I forget whose lips they actually are. I don't remember whose lips they are, but sure, Joey. We'll say you are, Joey. Sure. That's why you're here watching me, desperate for my attention, telling me you want me to be more muscly. Yeah. I agree. It's okay to be DL, man. Like I said, I'll read your DMs after the live, okay? And I won't tell anybody that you subscribe to the channel, okay? It's perfectly fine. Your secrets are safe with me. My lips are sealed. Oh, now you want me to grind? Sir, this is a family-friendly stream, okay? You don't, I can't be grinding on you in this stream, okay, Joey? Let's keep it family-friendly. So what movie should we do next? Good Boy or Black Phone 2? Both currently in theaters, actually. But for how long? Good Boy? Good, because I didn't write anything for Black Phone 2, because I just watched it like 4 hours ago. So, did I cry in Good Boy? No. Because it wasn't quite the movie that I was expecting. Good Boy is on Shudder, yes. It is a Shudder film. I did not realize it was a Shudder film. But it is a Shudder film. This is what a good thing or a bad thing that it's a Shudder film. I mean, it's inconsequential that it's a Shudder film. I mean, I keep saying Interview. It's Late Night with the Devil was a Shudder film as well, and I really like that. So, but Good Boy is rated PG-13, not rated R. Is released October 3rd, and it is only an hour and 12 or 13 minutes. Which is not very long. It is not a very long movie. It felt longer, to be honest. Um, a loyal dog moves to a rural family home with his owner, only to discover supernatural forces lurking in the shadows. As dark entities threaten his human companion, the brave pup must fight to protect the one he loves most. If you find working out helps you, Joey, with your carnal desires for muscly men, I think that's great for you. I'm not sure how it would help though, going to a gym and seeing muscly men, how that's going to stop you from wanting more muscly men in your life. But if it works for you, my brother in Christ, peace upon you. I believe you are from the country of who cares. So the description of the movie makes it sound more heroic than I feel like it actually was. I do think that the concept of the film is fresh and original. Seeing a horror movie. Of course you're not, Joey. Of course you're not. We understand. You're straight. You only like the ladies. We got it. Seeing a horror movie through the eye of a dog is pretty novel. It reminds me of the movie that came out last year, Violent in Nature, which was a horror movie through the eyes of a killer, which I didn't think was that good. The idea is good, but the movie itself wasn't very good. But it's the idea that if you have a dog, or I guess maybe a cat, I don't know, I never had a cat, but that your pet will sometimes stare off into the distance or stare at the corner of your room or on the wall and just kind of like tilt their heads and maybe bark at it or something like that. And it's like, what are you looking at? What are you barking at? It's that kind of idea in this film. And I thought it was going to be more focused on that. Yeah, they sense a ghost. But they explain in this movie kind of, well, they don't explain it. It's not scientific or anything. they try to like explain what the dog could be seeing in those situations. But there were some things in this movie that just did not work for me, and I found that hard to get really into the film because of it. Like the human characters, okay? So pretty much most of the human characters, you don't ever see their faces. Which I get why they did it, because they want you to focus on the dog. They want the dog to be the primary focus of the film. They want you to see through things through the dog's eyes. But it's like, doesn't a dog look at its owner's face? Like, that doesn't make sense. And almost all the human faces are shadowed out or cropped out of the shot completely. Like, it's very purposeful. Now, at the end of the movie, I'm just going to jump ahead. They do show some of the behind-the-scenes stuff after the credits of how they made the film and how they're, giving the dog commands and everything. And basically, the film took over 3 years to shoot because they would just do bits and bits and bits and bits and bits. But it makes sense why they hid the humans' faces, because pretty much all of the sound of the movie is added in post-production. Because otherwise you would have them going, Indy, over here, Indy. Ooh, Indy. Like, they're talking to the dog to get the dog to look and react. So all the other stuff is added in. So when you hide the human's face, you can add in the human's audio in post-production and not have to worry about, the person saying, oh, come here, Indy, while they're doing it. So it makes sense. It doesn't sound bad either. Like, don't get me wrong. I know I complained about sound a lot in movies, but it doesn't sound fed in. Like, it doesn't sound bad. There are a few instances where it sounds a little weird, where there's some jingling of their collar that is a little extra, but for the most part, all the audio of the humans sounds fine, which is crazy because it's such a super small film. It's very much an independent film. It is literally like mostly just the director and his wife filmed it, and then like almost all the dog parts, and then obviously the other actors, and then there's only like 2 or 3 other actors, and then like a film crew of like 2 people. So it's very small. It's like what, like I don't know, like 6 or 7 people total. So, but for me, not seeing the human face makes me not care about the human character. So, for the dog to be so concerned about the human character, I don't know, I couldn't get into the dog's struggle because it's like I don't care about the human character. I don't care if the human character dies. Why should I care? I don't even know what they look like. I don't know their face. So, I mean, so it made it a little bit harder for me to get into it. We do see one human's face, which is the grandpa, but he's in flashbacks and he's on videotape. So you see his face on the videotape because it wasn't filmed by the dog, it was filmed by people. So basically, you have the owner who is, I didn't even bring up IMDb for this movie. My bad. Hold please. Good boy. Yes, Indy is definitely the star of the movie. He's the donkey dog. So you have Todd, who is Indy's owner, and he is sick. They don't really explain what he's sick with. It's probably cancer. I mean, they might say it was cancer. I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying attention. He's sick, and he decides to move into his grandfather's old house. His grandfather passed away recently, who was also sick, and he's moving into his grandfather's house out in the wilderness. And his sister, Vera, does not like that. Again, a faceless human. We mostly only see her or hear her on the phone. We don't actually see her much other than the beginning of the movie. She's kind of smothering, you know, she wants her brother to be okay, but he's selfish. He's standoffish. He moved into the grandfather's house without telling anybody. I mean, he told her eventually, but hi, Prince. It was just, I don't know. It's I get that he's sick and everything, but I think it's funny the dog's name is Indy because it reminds me of Indiana Jones, because in Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, you know, his dad Sean Connery says, you know, we named the dog Indy because I'm pretty sure that's where they got it from. But the dog's name is actually Indy. What's the villain? That's a good question. So it's obviously some type of spirit haunting, but they don't explain where it came from, what it is, which is fine. You don't have to explain where it came from or what it is, I guess. But I won't tell you what it looks like because that's kind of a spoiler. I will admit I did jump, I think twice watching Good Boy. It did get me. It did get me. But it was just like, I don't know. I don't mind the entity, if you will. True. I mean, so the grandfather was sick as well, and there's mention that the house is haunted. Like his sister talks about how the house is haunted, and that she feels it's haunted. But it's like, is it actually haunted, or are they just dying in the house because they're really really sick, or are they sick from this entity? Like it's kind of up to you to decide. I mean, they show an entity, but does it actually represent a spirit, or does it represent illness? You know, does it represent your own mortality? So, I mean, unless the director has specifically said, I think it's up to your interpretation of the film. Is it in it a lot? I mean, it's in it a lot more at the end. A lot of the film is, and this is why I kind of wasn't super into it, is dog staring and then looking at the wall. Like the camera's on the wall, and then dog shifting its head, and the camera's at the wall. More dog face, and the camera's at the wall. Like it's very much that. And there's a lot of that. And there's noises and creaks and things, and sometimes you see like a shadowy figure in the background. So it's there, but there's a lot of not there. And it's only an hour and 13 minutes long, but it felt longer because of a lot of those instances. The dog is very cute. You know, the doggy does a really good job in his role. I mean, I will definitely say that he's super cute. He's like very orange, which is the kind of dog that he is. But yeah, it's just a lot of that back and forth of staring at nothingness. But again, it makes sense because that's what dogs do, right? They're staring, trying to, they sniff and they're staring and trying to see if there's something actually there because they can sense that something is there. It's that whole idea. And on film, it can get a little boring. Maybe boring's not the right word. That sounds really negative. Maybe a little tedious, like waiting for something to occur from that. But like I said, there were things that occurred that did scare me, like made me jump. There's some jump scares in there, and there's something going on in the house. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's like it's not explained whatsoever in the film, and it's very odd because it's like we see it in the house, characters interact with it in the house, but there's no explanation for it. And I don't know if it's just supposed to be a manifestation again of like afterlife stuff or a manifestation of again the illness that takes you when you get sick. I don't know, but it's a very odd thing to be in the house and have no explanation for it. So that was a little annoying. I don't want to say what it is, but I don't know if it's in the trailer because I actually have not seen the trailer for this movie, so I couldn't tell you what this trailer is. Although I guess I can watch the trailer now and then I can say it to you. I did like the home movies of the puppy though when he was a little doggy. Oh, is it on Shudder? Can you watch it already? I'm watching the trailer right now. I'm not listening to it. I am watching it. It's very creepy. Like there's a lot of creepy stuff in it. There's a lot of tension. The dog doesn't bark as much as I thought he would bark. If that makes sense. I was really expecting the dog to bark a bunch. Okay, so the trailer doesn't show what I was talking about, so I won't mention it. You thought you saw there, but maybe it's the trailer. It might be. Like, I was really thinking that the dog would bark. The dog probably barked, I don't know, like 6 barks in the whole movie. And I thought that was really odd. Because when things were happening, the dog wasn't making a lot of noises. And I thought that was really odd. Because things get really hectic at the end of the movie. Like, things pick up real quick and get real crazy at the end. Like the last, it's probably only 15-20 minutes really, since the movie's so short, but it gets pretty heavy and it gets pretty crazy and it's just like, oh, okay. Oop. Oh, I lost my place. That's the old missionary. That's the wrong thing. There's a lot of, most of the camera angles are dog level. So, we're looking up at humans, which again, you would think you would see their faces, but you don't. But I mean, I guess if the light's behind a human, when you're looking up at them, you wouldn't see their faces. I wouldn't say that I had fun, to be honest. I was kind of bored throughout the first 30 minutes. Because I kept expecting something to happen other than the dog staring at a wall and then us staring at the wall, I was kind of expecting, I don't know, more dog saving person. When I heard the synopsis of the film, I was really expecting the dog to be dragging people to safety or, barking and scaring the spirit away. Like, you know, very interactive with protecting the human. And it's not like that. The dog does a lot of solo exploration around the house because, you know, the owner is sick, Todd, so he's not really interacting like that. So the dog is in the basement, the dog is in the attic, the dog is in the spare room. Like, the dog is traveling around the house and in the yard and all that stuff. It's not that I expected too much. I was just expecting a different kind of story. It's kind of like Violent in Nature. I was expecting more out of seeing things through the eyes of the killer, when instead we just saw a bunch of walking in the woods. Like, I fell asleep watching Violent in Nature because it was like ASMR. You had forest noises, birds chirping, and the slow, steady footsteps of crunching leaves and sticks. Like, it was like forest ASMR, and I was falling asleep in it. I didn't fall asleep in this. I almost did, but I didn't. Like I said, I did get scared though. I did jump. There was one scene that I thought was really sad, and it's like the dog is sitting at the window, and the owner goes away to go to the doctors or whatever, and it's daytime, and the dog is sitting there in the window, and then it switches to nighttime, and the dog is still sitting there in the window, and it's like, oh, he's been sitting there the whole time. Like, that was sad. It's not meant to be sad. It's just showing how the dog is protective of the owner, how he's waiting for that person to come home. Which is very true when you think about it. I mean, like when I came back from Hawaii after 10 months, my dog probably thought I disappeared off the face of the planet. Remember, when they're of that age, it's like 7 times longer. So you're gone for 8 hours. They think you're gone for 56 hours. Like, it feels longer. So, did my dog miss me? Yes. My mom brought him to the airport, and he was going bonkers. Of course he recognized me. I still smell the same. I was thinner. There were some pacing issues, like I mentioned, with the whole staring at the wall back and forth type of stuff. It did feel very, very slow in the beginning, which is unfortunate. Finale goes pretty hard, but without the lore of what's happening, it felt a little incomplete. That's very true. Like, when we do see the spiritual entity, if you will, and I don't mind the look of it. Like, I think it's a good look. It's just, again, I just wish I knew why it was there, or what's the reasoning behind it. Is it actually a spirit, or is it just a representation of illness? Is it the same spirit that haunted the grandfather when he lived there? Like, is it scary looking? I think it's pretty creepy looking. I mean, will everybody find it scary looking? No. Like, think of Longlegs, right? Do you think he's scary looking? He doesn't. The entity does not look like Longlegs, by the way. I'm just using that as an example. Like, is he scary? Or he's just goofy looking? You know what I mean? Like, I think that you could probably view this entity as both. But it's like, if I saw this in my room, I would be pretty freaking scared. So, definitely, I think it is a scary looking entity. So, I do think that does have that. It really, the film itself is impressive that they made it. Like I said, it took them over 3 years, 400 days of filming, because some nights they would film and only get like 8 seconds of footage because they had to try to get the dog to raise their head up and then come run a certain way around the furniture to get the shot right. And it might take you 2 hours to get that one little shot of the dog. I forgot you can't see my hand, but the one little shot of the dog going around the coffee table. Like, that could take you all night. You know, because the dog might just get sick of you calling it back and forth. So, you know, it's a dog. It's a living being. Dogs do get sick of things. Like I said, they showed the behind the scenes thing after the credits, and I thought it was really cute and really interesting and how they made it. And I didn't realize how much they shot with lights, and then they used a filter to make it look like it was nighttime. I didn't realize how much of that happened in this film, which is good. It's good that you can't tell that they're doing day to night, or at least lights to darkness. So, but yeah, so for a rating of it, I think it's definitely a film that horror fans should watch, just because it's so different, and it's interesting enough to keep your attention. Um, the ending, the very ending, was okay. I mean, the finale sequences were good. It's on Shudder next month. Okay, well, make sure you watch it so we can have this discussion about it. The dog was great. The human actors, not so much. Because again, like I said, you don't really see them because they're shadowed people. In fact, the human actors were, especially, well, it's really only the owner, Todd. He's even creepy looking because all you see is his skinny body from the neck down in the darkness. He looks creepy as it is. Oh, the Demon Knight one? You should. It's entertaining. Demon Knight's entertaining. It feels like a very B movie though. Oh, Prince, did you see? Were you here for the review of Demon Knight? I mentioned that the lower level demons look like the Hag from DBD. So if you watch it, look at the yeah. Look, Joey, I told you I'll read your DMs when I'm done the live, okay? I'm flattered that you're still here and you're my #1 viewer right now, but you gotta cool down a bit, okay? You can't run hot like this. Oh, Joey never left. That's why he's #1. He's been here the whole time. But yeah, so the demons look kind of like the Hag from DBD. Like they walk around like her. They kind of have like her humpback and their head shape. Like they look very much like the Hag, which I thought was very interesting. They don't, do spells or anything like that, but they definitely remind me of her. So if I had to give a rating to Good Boy, I'll give it a 7.5. It is interesting. It's a little slow for me in the beginning, It is really, really cool how they made it. I think that's what makes it even more impressive, that it was just so few people to create this film. And it's only one dog. Like a lot of movies will use multiple dogs that look the same. Well, Prince, it's still novel and it's still entertaining. It's just there are certain things that make me feel a little less connected to it. Obviously, I care about the dog's well-being. I mean, dogs over people any day. So obviously, I'm still interested in a dog being safe and happy. But it could have been better given, I don't want to say a more human aspect of it, but just give us more of a reason to care about the human. And give us, my God, Joey, you know how much I like it when you beg. But yeah, so we'll say 7.5 for Good Boy. Who else is a good boy? Joey McDonough. He's a good boy because he's my #1 fan. You're the #1 fan of this stream. Isn't that exciting? Doesn't that make you feel so warm and fuzzy on the inside? That you're the #1 fan? Okay, so that leaves us with one more movie. One more movie. Yet you're still here being that #1 fan, big boy. I did think it was interesting that it's just called Black Phone 2, and the first movie is called The Black Phone. So it's interesting that this is not called The Black Phone or The Black Phone 2. Black Phone 2. Rated R. Came out obviously this year. October 17th. It's made back its budget. It just came out though, so I'm sure it has to get more traction. Oh, the grabber. So that's what actually I was worried about. I was worried if he's going to lose his sense of character and become a Freddy Krueger character. But I feel like they did it in a way that made it still connected to his lore. So, well, then you better do your chores, Joey. You better take out the rubbish before your mommy and daddy get very upset at you. Especially your daddy. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't get to read the trivia yet for this movie. So apparently Miguel Mora, who played Robin in the first movie, he actually plays an older brother of that character in this movie. No problem. That's fine, Prince. I have Joey here to keep me company because he's my #1 fan. Desperate for my attention. So desperate. I do suggest watching the first movie again if you haven't seen it recently. I wish I would have saw it again before watching this one. Because there's some callbacks to that. And it's only been 4 years. I mean, obviously, Mason Thames, the main character. Yeah, Joey, of course it's satanic. That's why you're here. You're here worshiping me as you're my #1 fan. Well, Prince, I don't know what you're doing tonight. You doing anything after work? Because I think that zombie mode is on Marvel Rivals now. But it was 4 years ago, but Mason Thames looks so young in it. It's because, he hit puberty and all that. So I kind of wish I rewatched the first one before watching the second one. Okay. Well, we can try that. I mean, I meant tonight, if you wanted to play it tonight. All right, well, after I get done reading all Joey's DMs and all the things he's been sending me, I'll respond to yours, okay? It's going to be a lot of stuff. I have to help my #1 fan. Yes, Queen. Apparently, Roofman is like Black Phone 2. Did you know that? It's in the suggested more like this section. Hey, in my dreams, like the grabber. As Finn, now 17, struggles with life after his captivity, his sister begins receiving calls in her dreams from the Black Phone and seeing disturbing visions of 3 boys being stalked at a winter camp known as Alpine Lake. Rated R. Bye, Princey Pooh. And this is why I wish I would have rewatched the first movie. I know the gist of the first movie. I know that Finn gets kidnapped and then he answers the phone and it's the previous kidnapped children on the phone. Like I know all that. There's just some dialogue that calls back to the first movie between the killer and Finn that calls back to things that I didn't remember. And I found that to be disappointing for me because I didn't remember. So it's unfortunate. So maybe I'll have to rewatch it sometime soon. I probably won't, but I should to get a better grasp on it. Mason, I don't know if his name is Thames or Thames. Thames is like the river. He's also in How to Train Your Dragon. 2 big movies this year for him. Ethan Hawke is the grabber, of course. And the one cool thing, it's all the same actors. So even the young girl, Madeline McGraw, plays Gwen. She played Gwen in the first movie. Jeremy Davies, he played the dad. I think he played the dad in the first movie too. I'm not sure. Damien Bichar, he played Mondo. He looked really familiar to me. He was in The Hateful Eight. I have seen The Hateful Eight. And Machete Kills. I don't know if I saw Machete Kills. I think I did. He was in The Nun. He was one of the priests. My God, why don't you scroll down? You won't let me scroll down. But anyway, so yeah, so if you can rewatch the first movie, I think it might be beneficial to you. There's a lot of callbacks to it. But genuinely, I didn't actually really want to see this movie that much. I really thought it was going to be derivative and not a great continuation. Because the first movie wasn't fantastic to me. The first movie was fine, but there were a lot of issues with it. I don't have a rating for it here on my IMDb for some reason. But I remember it being okay. I remember it being entertaining to watch, but not nothing that like blew me away. So when the second one was announced, I was really surprised because I didn't even know the first one came to theaters. I only watched it on Peacock. I didn't know it even went to theaters at all. So that was surprising to me. And apparently it was super successful, the first movie was. Which is a surprise to me. Let me scroll down. Let's take a look at it. June 24th. Had an $18 million budget and it made $161 million. That's a massive success. Joey, please don't ask me to take my clothes off on stream. Thank you. That is inappropriate, okay? I'm not taking it down for you. Just sit here and watch my stream like a good boy that you are. Okay? Continue to be my #1 fan. Thanks. So yeah, so the first movie was highly successful. The budget has doubled for the second film. It's almost double. It's about 30 million. And it's made about 49 million so far, which is good. I mean, it just came out. So, I mean, it came out, what, the 17th? And it's only the 23rd. So, not even a week ago it came out. So that's actually not bad. I mean, spooky season is upon us, so we'll see if it can capitalize on that. It's going to need a lot more money, though. Migration, yeah, I love that birds travel from colder climates to warmer climates. That's just a weird comment, Joey. Joey Belowy. Let's see. So the story basically, like I said, it builds off of the first movie. That's why I said you should watch it. Because Finn is having issues. He's still getting phone calls from dead people asking for his help. See, look at you. Now you want me to be more muscular. Again, I get it, dude. I get it, Joey. You love muscly men. I get it. You want all the men you watch on YouTube to be big muscle boys. Okay? I do work out, but I'm not a super big muscly guy. At my age, I'm just trying to keep some of the weight off, which obviously isn't working. So, I get it, man. You love strong, masculine men that you love to wrap your arms around. That's perfectly fine. Okay? Yeah, we know that you're straight. You just love muscly men. And you want to see more muscly men on YouTube. Like every straight guy does, of course. Of course, you're our straight queen. Yes, queen. I mean, you've told me like 6 times that you want me to work out so I become more muscly. That's what most straight people say, you know? Yeah, that's what they say. I'm loving this interaction because you're just giving me views, man, and I love it so much. Thank you. It's helping to push my channel out there to the people of the world. Love it. So he's still getting phone calls from random phones and from dead people asking for his help. But then his sister starts to see things in her dreams. And that's where it kind of treads in the Nightmare on Elm Street territory. But I think it's done well enough in this universe to where it doesn't feel derivative of Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's done very well. I bet you are praying for me. I bet you are. You're thinking about me in your dreams too. I know, Joey. I know. I know your type. Perfectly fine, you know. One day you can live your truth as a muscle man lover. You can't pray it away. At first, I didn't really care for Gwendolyn or Gwen, her character. I felt like she delivered her lines kind of flatly. Like I didn't think that she was really emotive enough for the role. Even in the trailer, I thought she was saying her lines very like, "I'm having dreams, and they're spooky." Like it's like, okay, can you be a bit more like expressive with those lines? Um, it was just kind of in the beginning. That's how she was. I mean, she got better as the movie went on. Um, she plays terrified very well, and she cries very easily on cue, which is fantastic. And I did end up liking her. I did end up liking her. Um, Finn or Mason Thames, he's good. He's great. I mean, I like him quite a bit. I thought he did a great job. They both did a good job at bringing the emotion to the role, and that's the thing about Black Phone 2 I wasn't expecting was so much emotion. You know, horror movies often have emotion, but they're often, you know, surface level emotion. It's nothing that's going to make you feel as much. Like, I love you, I won't let the demons get you. You know, it's very basic emotional connections. But this one had genuinely feeling emotional connections. I mean, I teared up in this movie. Like, I got sad in this movie. I cried a little in this movie. Like, I was not expecting that reaction from this movie. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but there was definitely a very good non-cheesy display of emotion in this movie. And I think that worked really well. I mean, and especially with Mando's character, Damien Bichar, he felt super genuine when talking about the previously killed children from the camp. Like he felt so real. Like his concern for the children felt really real, and it really like struck a nerve with me. There is like a Christian Karen, which cracked me up. I mean, as most Christians are Karens, so she was pretty obnoxious, and hearing the other characters cuss at her was super funny because she got so offended. Like, ah, I'll pray for you. Oh, I can't believe it. Like she was so whiny, which is a Christian staple. You know, you gotta whine about other people's lives. So she was good at her role. I will say that. I didn't care for her character whatsoever, but she was good at her role. Her husband was kind of a non-character, Kenneth. He didn't really do much. He was just kind of there. Ariana Rivas plays Mustang. Perfectly fine in her role. Nothing too groundbreaking. She did, I don't know her from anything, do I? I love it when web pages don't scroll. She's 911. She's in Working Man. I didn't see Working Man, Wisdom Tree, The Harvest. I don't know any of those things. But she was fine. She's Mustang. Everybody had like a weird, goofy name like that. Mustang, Spike, Stripe. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, oh, okay, cool. So, there's a lot of dream sequences in this movie, and how it differs from Nightmare on Elm Street is that they don't try to hide that it's a dream sequence. So when Gwen is in a dream sequence, her whole thing, it becomes like aged film, right? I knew you couldn't stay away, Joey. And it's very obvious that she's in a dream. Like you're meant to know that she's in a dream. Unlike Nightmare on Elm Street, which is like, is it a dream? Is it a real life? Like this is a dream. Because you need to know that it's a dream because things are happening to her in the real world based upon what's happening to her in the dreams. Oh, Joey, be a good boy and sit and watch, okay? You don't get to demand if you're not a subscriber, okay? You gotta follow the rules, little boy. If you do, I'll give you. You can go look up some muscle dude pictures to hold you over. Okay. Okay. We know that's what you like. Okay. To hold yourself over until I answer your DMs. So it is a very much a dream sequence film. Did I assume your gender? I mean, your name is Joseph, which is generally a male name. But you can be whatever gender you want. You do you. Live your life. I did see that little trivia, though, that Miguel Mora plays Ernesto, who was the older brother of his character in the first movie. Because, like I said, the characters, obviously, they've grown up in there. So, yeah, I did assume your gender. Would you like to say I'm wrong? Hey, tell me your pronouns, and I'll use your pronouns. Okay? We are equal opportunity stream here. We believe in freedom and democracy, actually. Isn't that great? Unlike the Christian Karen in this movie. She did not believe in democracy. I did think that there was some dialogue early in the film that was super... Is this 80s? Does this movie take place in the 80s? Yeah, it takes place in the 80s. Super 80s. Like, every word out of Gwen's mouth was like some 80s slang, and it was just, it's like, okay guys, we get it, it's in the 80s, you don't have to say every 80s slang word in the dictionary. Okay, she's like, oh yeah, that's so mint, that's totally cool, awesome, and it's just like, okay, we get it. It was really over the top. Luckily, I was only in the beginning of the movie, and the rest it was perfectly fine. There is quite a bit of potty mouth and quite a creative way of cursing. I'm not going to repeat it, obviously, but it was a lot of creative cursing. The special effects are good. I don't know necessarily if they're going to hold up over time, because I feel like a lot of the scenery is not real in some of the shots, especially in some of the far shots. So I feel like it's probably not going to hold up over time, but it looks perfectly fine here in the movie. So, yay for that. There's quite a bit of gore. Some unexpected gore, actually. There was some violence that I wasn't expecting against children. We're not expecting to see. Obviously, the grabber preys on children. But I wasn't expecting to see some of the violence that they showed. So, I thought that was very interesting. It was very well done. I mean, visually. Again, some of it is CGI, so it might not hold up as well, but it was good. It will probably end up being on Peacock, I would assume, since the first movie's on Peacock, because it is done by who is it? Universal, which is a Comcast company now. So I'm sure it'll be on Peacock, because Peacock is from Comcast. There is some drug use in the film, which I thought was it felt a little off sometimes when Finn would smoke his marijuana. There were some audio issues. I feel like because they put a filter over the grabber's voice, because he's dead, and I felt like sometimes I couldn't actually understand what he was saying in the moments, because it was just too much of a filter and it was too gargled, and there was music and sound effects happening, and it was just like I kind of lost it a little bit. At home I use captions, so it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I don't have captions on in the movie theater. You can get captions in the movie theater, but I did not have captions on in the movie theater. So I don't know, it was surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be. It is almost just about 2 hours long. It's an hour and 59 minutes. At some points, it did feel a little long. There are the usual horror tropes where characters don't say what they're thinking. They just kind of, stare down or look pensive or whatever, because they're just not telling the other characters what they're seeing or what they're feeling. So that's a little tropey. I mean, it's to be expected. I feel like most horror movies have that. It's like, just say it. You're all in danger. Say what you need to say to help each other. Like, You don't need to hide your feelings at this point. Like, there's a guy killing you. Say it. Say what you mean. Say what you need to say. Like I said, there is a lot of emotion in it. The guy who played the dad, not great. He was fine, but I feel like sometimes he just kind of felt stiff. This guy here, I don't know if he was in the first one. James Ranson, who was in the It movies, plays Max. Was he in the first movie? Because they showed him as if I was supposed to know who he was. Jacob Moran plays Billy. Jacob Moran plays Billy in this one, too. I think that's just archival footage. He does play Max in this one. See, again, it's another character I don't recognize. You know who he probably is? He's probably the Grabber's brother. I think that's who he is, because the Grabber mentioned his brother being killed by Finn. And that's not something I remember from the first movie, like, at all. So that's probably what it was. That's probably who he is. Because when they show him, he's dead. So I'm assuming that's who he is. But, yeah, I was genuinely surprised at how good the film was. It definitely, I feel like I enjoyed the second one more than I enjoyed the first one. Maybe once I rewatched the first one, I might feel a little differently, but as of right now, I enjoy Black Phone 2 more than The Black Phone. Oh wait, I own Black Phone on DVD. I just bought it like 2 weeks ago. On Blu-ray, I mean, not on DVD. Yeah, I forgot I did buy that. Huh. So we can rewatch it. But yeah, so Black Phone 2. What can we rate Black Phone 2? I did enjoy it. It's obviously not perfect. There are some issues with it. Like the excessive 80s slang. It's only sitting at a 6.7. I think that's a little low. It is a fairly new movie, even though there are 189 reviews and 10,000 ratings. And that one's a negative review. This one said that it should have been more creative with it. I actually feel like they got more creative as the movie went on, and I did like that. I wouldn't mind more creative. You know, I love creative dream sequences. That's my jazz right there. I love seeing crazy stuff happening on film. Just dreams. Yes, please. Yes, please. God, what can I rate this movie? We gave Tron we gave Tron a 7. Good Boy 7.5. Did I enjoy it more? I definitely enjoyed it more than Good Boy, I would say. I think I connected more with the film than I did with Good Boy. So maybe we give Black Phone an 8 out of 10. I feel that it really felt like they genuinely tried to expand the universe of the Black Phone. And I don't think there'll be a Black Phone 3. I'm not quite sure what they would do with a Black Phone 3 unless they went forward in like a different direction, I guess. Because they did explain that the characters are still going to have the same powers, right? Gwen's still going to have dreams where she sees dead people, and Finn's probably still going to hear the phone. Like, they do explain that's still a thing. So they could make more. I just don't know if more would work considering the finale of this film. That maybe if they made a third one and then maybe the fourth one would have a return, then that would be a different story. But I'm just not sure a third one would work with the way this one ended. But you never know, you know? The Conjuring had successful movies by changing the demons and changing the bad guys and stuff like that. But those characters, you know, the Warrens were very likable characters. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are very likable actors. Not that these actors, Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw, aren't likable actors, but you know, they might not want to get shoehorned into a Black Phone series. So it could work as a TV show. They could do like a case every episode, you know, an hour and a half. long episode or an hour episode. That'd be interesting. But yeah, we'll say 8 out of 10. So to recap, Black Phone 2, 8 out of 10. Tron Ares, 7 out of 10. I'm going to rewatch Tron Ares, so I might end up giving it a higher score. We'll see. Good Boy, 7.5. They're all fine movies. And then Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, I gave a 6.5 because while it was entertaining, it just, wasn't fantastic. But it was an entertaining time. So those are our 4 movies for the evening. And here on Gremlin Lord Live, episode 18. Looking forward to the future movies that are going to be coming out. We got Wicked coming out next month. Wicked Part 2, or Wicked for Good. I'm very excited about that. I do want to see Begonia. I'm not sure it's going to come to my theaters, but I do want to see it. Sorry, I'm trying to find isn't there like an up and coming section? Top 10 on IMDb, fan favorites, popular interests, explore what's streaming. The Bruce Springsteen movie, I don't really care about that. I like Bruce Springsteen fine, but do I need to see a movie about his life? Not really. Regretting You doesn't look good. Predator Badlands looks like entertaining, but like I never saw Prey. I've only seen Predator 1 and 2. I haven't even seen AVP. It seems like a much more action-oriented film, which is fine. It's a different avenue where the Predator isn't as stalking as he is. He's more being the prey, I guess. So that's fine. I'm not like against it. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't. There's a Jesus movie coming out called David from Angel Studios, the white nationalist studios. We won't go see that. Good Fortune, I don't know if I'd go see Good Fortune. It looks like it could be funny, but I don't know. Shelby Oaks, I don't know much about. I keep hearing about it in my movie circles, but I don't know much about it. I do want to see Begonia, though. Wicked for Good. Blue Moon does not look great. Back to the Future is coming back out in the theaters. Maybe I will finally see Back to the Future. That'd be exciting, huh? For the first time ever, I can see Back to the Future in theaters. And for the first time ever in general. After the Hunt, I thought looked interesting, but it's not in my theater. Oh, here we go. Keeper is the next Osgood Perkins movie. I'll probably go see that just because I like Longlegs so much. Die My Love looks pretty good. Running Man doesn't look good. I've never seen the original Running Man, but I feel like this one probably isn't going to be as entertaining because is it Glenn Powell, right? Glenn Powell's the guy. I don't care for him much. I think they try to make him seem more charismatic. Like, I'm sure he's a fine guy, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like he's another Channing Tatum. Like he's an actor they're trying to make happen, as opposed to allowing him to be an actor. I feel like they're like trying to not force him onto you, but trying to get him in the door. Secret Agent, never heard of that. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, good God, no. 1, I'm sick of that trailer, and I thought Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was mediocre at best. The second one looks just as bad. Nuremberg I've already seen. That review is up here on YouTube, so you can go ahead and watch that review if you like. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. No. Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2's last trailer looked pretty funny. I never saw Zootopia 1. Eternity looked interesting. Christie, no. I really hope Christie's not the Regal Mystery movie on Monday, because I do not want to see Sydney Sweeney box. Anniversary looked somewhat interesting. Sisu Road to Revenge. I didn't see Sisu 1. Rental Family looks interesting. That's with Brendan Fraser. The Carpenter's Son is that Jesus horror film starring Nicolas Cage. I don't know what to think of that. That might be okay. And it looks like a lot of things that I don't know much about here in the coming soon section. like at all. That Depeche Mode movie. This is a lot of stuff I never heard of. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. I will be live tomorrow on Twitch with, I'm pretty sure, Battlefield 6. My first time playing it now that I have a copy of it. Friday Night Battlefield. Make sure you like the video and leave a comment on the actual, well, you won't be able to leave a comment on the actual video because the VOD won't be out until tomorrow afternoon. But go ahead and subscribe. We're only 2 subscribers away from 300, you know? That's a big deal. We're trying to hit 300 by the end of the year, and we just need 2 more. 1 more. According to this, we need 1 more subscriber to hit 300. How exciting. We're at 299. We're treading that creator equilibrium. We have as many subs as you have videos. We have 300 videos, but 299 subscribers. So we just kind of need that final push, you know? But yeah, so next week we have another Regal Mystery movie. So that'll be our review for next week. Will be the Regal Mystery movie, whatever it is. So be sure to check it out. I will try to get some more shorts out that show off my recent physical media pickups. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, like I said, like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And we will see you tomorrow on Twitch and next week with another mystery movie review. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!